Hi everyone, I'm GREYMOND. Today we're going to talk about the most important exposures for HOCD. When you have HOCD thoughts, would you say that the thoughts themselves are the most painful part of dealing with HOCD? Most people will say yes. Whenever you're getting a thought, any thought on any topic related to HOCD, you are in a situation of exposure. This is not an on purpose exposure. This is what I call an accidental exposure. This is happening to you all day long. Whenever you're at these crossroads, do I pay attention? Do I take it seriously? Or do I disregard? You have a chance to either make your OCD better or worse. Every time you are choosing to get into the thought, ruminate, take it seriously, research, analyze, ask, confess, you are making this more relevant in your mind, and your mind takes it to mean that it needs to send you the same thought again and again and again and again. Whenever you're saying, this is just my OCD, I'm choosing to disregard, and continuing to go on with whatever you were doing, even though you're faking it, even though you feel anxiety, even though the thoughts are still there once you say it, but you are not actively engaging it, your mind takes it as a signal that this is not all that relevant. And over time, as you continuously do this, HOCD, anxiety, OCD generally starts to reduce. It's a step-by-step process. Everything you do, however you react, it matters. Every single time matters. This is why I say to my clients, it's so important for you to track the time of how much time you're spending taking these thoughts seriously, powering these thoughts up. Every time you're powering them up, you're making your situation worse. Every time you are refusing, you're making your situation better. When you track the time, and I have videos on tracking the time, when you track the time, little by little, you start to pull out of it. And that first automatic thought that you get is less anxiety producing, feels less real as you continue to do this. But you need to continue to do this all the way until it goes to zero. Your time that you're tracking goes to zero. This is the most important exposure. Sure, you can do on purpose exposure, say if continuously something triggers you, but with any OCD, including HOCD, these triggers can change. There can be hundreds, thousands of them. You can't just do on purpose exposures for every new trigger that comes up. You'll be at it for decades. Instead, saying anything that has to do with HOCD in any way, I am gonna from now on choose to disregard. So I have a plan of what I'm gonna do in the day. Nothing to do with OCD. I have a plan what I'm gonna do in the day. Okay, I'm going along that plan. Alongside, OCD is screaming in my ear about HOCD in this case. But I will continue to go along with what I was planning in the day, not actively giving it my attention, not actively solving these HOCD riddles. My brain can scream, it can solve it automatically, it can come up with another one, it can get triggered by something. I have a plan, I am following the plan. And this way, you are constantly in exposure and you're constantly refusing. So, exposure is basically an opportunity for you to either make yourself better and one step closer to recovery or make yourself worse, one step further away from recovery. And accountability with OCD is huge. You need to be accountable for how you are reacting to these thoughts. It's not going to be perfect. Nobody expects it to be perfect. But every day, it has to be a little bit better. And every time, I really do suggest that every time you are actively responding, you are tracking how much time you are responding for and reducing. Every day, by little bit reducing, and you start to also gain self-esteem back, because you see, hey, it was this amount yesterday, and now I'm a little better today. And once you start to have weeks and weeks of this, and you see this gradual reduction, and you see that your anxiety is also falling with it, and there's setbacks, there's step backs, right? There's situations that come up because stress can aggravate OCD. Certain triggers that are just overwhelming can aggravate OCD, that they're like hurdles that you're not yet able to jump over. And that's all valid. But generally speaking, you will start to see the numbers go down. And that's you going from point A, where you started, to point B, full recovery. I'm telling you, full recovery is possible. If you can make one step, if you can just reduce the numbers by a little bit, reduce your rumination by a little bit, then why wouldn't you be able to continue to do this? So it's the same mechanism. If you reduce by 1, you can reduce by 2 and by 3 and by 4 minutes. And eventually you'll reduce to 0. And as you are reducing, the anxiety goes down. So the pull to ruminate, the pull to take it seriously because it feels so real, also reduces. So it doesn't even feel that important anymore. But this is theory. You, in practice, need to do this. As you do this, you recover. Overall, I can tell you that there's generally a group of people who will say, OCD is chronic, I am who I am, I can never recover. They don't do recovery work, they don't track the time, they don't recover. The other group of people pushes through, does recovery work, tracks the time, and they do recover. And I see this, and I have records of this from my clients. This is real. You can do this. But every day, every hour of the day, you need to be accountable and trying to reduce to the best of your ability. Again, not perfect, but just a little bit better. Overall, if you make your goal, this is the goal that I make with clients, that if you make your goal that every week you are doing 25% better in reducing rumination, different situations, reducing compulsions, right? For other types of OCD, for example. 25% better in a week, that means you're reduced by 100% in a month. And not everybody makes that figure, but even if you did, say, 75% of that in the course, so reduced by 75% by the end of the month, then okay, it's going to take a little bit longer for you to finish it. Now, that doesn't mean that you're recovered in a month. That means that you stopped powering it up. And then from when you stop powering it up, you need to maintain and let the brain heal. This is a similar situation when, as a kid, if you run, you fall, you scrape your knee, it starts to crust over, and then you pick at it. And then it crusts over again, and then you pick at it. And then when you finally decide that I am not going to pick at it anymore, there still needs to be a healing place, a healing that takes place. And after that, there is a little bit of a scar that also takes a little bit of time to heal, or time to heal. So look at it exactly like that. Every day, every time, what you're doing right now matters, because you are on the road to either making yourself worse or making yourself better. You can do this. I fully recovered from severe OCD. You can do this, but you actually need to put action into it. It's not going to happen on its own. It's not magic, but it's possible. I hope you find my videos helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I will see you tomorrow. If you would like to do one-on-one recovery program with me, all the information is on youhaveocd.com.